Good morning, YouTube. RepoMan64. Today, I wanted to talk about Jacob and Esau in relation to the bride and the tribulation saints. But before I do that, I thought about something fun. I'm getting more and more followers. More and more people are subscribing. So I was just curious in the comment section where you're from. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, USA. So I'm just curious, what state and country you're from. Put that down in the comment section. See how far this is reaching, because I have no idea. I'm not really versed with YouTube, so I don't know how to go in and look at the analytics of it. I haven't really spent a lot of time trying to figure that out, but I was just curious. Anyway, so Jacob and Esau, you know the story. Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of porridge. Basically what happened was he was warned that the rapture was going to happen, and he didn't listen. It's pretty much what's happening here. Very shortly, there's going to be an escape of the bride, just like the story of Jacob, Rachel, and Leah. Wakes up in the morning and finds Leah in his bed instead of Rachel, and he's waits 7 more days, and he finally gets Rachel, which is the 7 years of tribulation. So Jacob goes into the father. The father can barely see. He puts some like animal hide on his arms because Esau was a very hairy guy, kind of like me. I grew a beard in 2 days. And Jacob was smooth-skinned, and he was sent in there because Esau did sell his birthright, and Jacob was chosen over Esau. You remember in the story, after he works for the 20 years for Leah, Rachel, and the cattle, that he returns to his brother. Now, he thinks his brother's going to be pissed. He cowers down even when his brother approaches him, and his brother's like, no. He finds out that Esau has 10 times as much as he does. He worked hard, and God blessed Jacob immensely, but he comes back and finds that Esau has 10 times. What do you do with that story? The way I was taught was that Jacob was a picture of somebody going to heaven, and Esau was a picture of all those people that are going to hell. But that's not so. Esau is a picture of all of the tribulation saints. There's going to be 10 times as many, at least 10 times as many. You see it in the story that Esau actually had a lot more stuff, a lot more, I guess you'd call it salvation, than Jacob did when he returned. Jacob came back with his, I believe it was his 2 wives, 2 concubines, and I'm going to mess up, but it's 12 children. I know it's 12 children. I have to read that, but it's 12 children. So imagine that Esau was blessed tenfold, and he had more cattle, more everything. And why is that? Because Jacob is a picture of the escaped bride, and Esau is a picture of the tribulation saint. There's going to be a number of the escaped bride which counts 1,000 times 1,000 and thousands and thousands. Now I can tell you 1,000 times 1,000 is 100 million. And then thousands and thousands we can surmise above 100 million. 200 million? No, then it would be 1,000 times 2,000, right? But it didn't say that. It said 1,000 times 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. So I'm guessing that this number might relate to the 144. Maybe it's 1,440,000 escaped bride, but we know it's more than 100 million. So Esau has 10 times what Jacob has. He has a lot more stuff. So what does that mean? This is the number that cannot be counted. These are those which arrive in heaven to paradise, that a great number which no man can count. So you can't even count how many people there are. So that's good news. Bad news, you have to sit through 7 years because you wouldn't listen to these goofy videos. But good news, we used to be taught, and I mean my whole life I was taught You either go in the rapture or you go into the lake of fire. And then I was questioning always like, well, why put the people through all of this punishment only to punish them for eternity in hell? Does that even make sense? Like, we live in a material world with material punishments, and if it's a fair society and a fair government, which a lot of us don't have, but if it were, if you commit a crime, you deserve your punishment. Do they punish you in prison for 10 years and then throw you into a lake of fire at the end of it to burn for all eternity? That wouldn't make any sense. That wouldn't be fair. In any universe, that wouldn't work, you know? So Esau is a picture of the tribulation saint that gets raptured to paradise. And you know that Jacob is a picture of the bride, and he gets raptured to the third heaven. You'll see this separation in, let me Google this real quick. Come on over here for a second. I knew a man above 14 years. I learned this from the Sword of God. 14, I wish I could type like